Today, we are going to talk about the book, The Mountain Is You, Transforming Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery by Brianna Wiest. Brianna is a modern writer known for her deeply introspective and empowering works on emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and personal growth. Her writing often blends psychology, philosophy, and spirituality to inspire profound transformation in readers. The Mountain Is You is one of her most impactful books, focusing on breaking free from self-sabotage and turning one's inner battles into breakthroughs. The Mountain Is You. Story summary. First prologue, The Shadow of the Mountain. A woman named Mira sat quietly on the worn-out bench overlooking a jagged mountain range. Every morning she came here with her coffee, staring at the peaks in the distance. Her life felt like those towering mountains, formidable, distant, and unforgiving. They weren't just real mountains. They were symbolic of the inner struggles she had carried all her life. Mira was brilliant, empathetic, and wildly creative, but she felt stuck. She had dreams of starting her own wellness brand, moving to a new city, and falling in love. But she never seemed to get there. She would start projects and abandon them. She'd plan and then procrastinate. She'd commit only to withdraw the moment things got real. She was caught in a cycle she couldn't escape. One day, as she sat with her journal, a thought hit her like lightning. The mountain isn't something I have to climb. It is me. I am the mountain I must overcome. 2. Understanding the mountain. What is self-sabotage? Mira began reading about self-sabotage, desperate for answers. She discovered that self-sabotage is not about being broken or lazy. It's about unresolved trauma, subconscious fear, and misaligned beliefs. She learned that most self-sabotage stems from fear of change, fear of failure or success, deep shame or guilt, an internalized belief that she is not worthy of happiness. She realized she had been trying to protect herself by holding herself back. Her sabotage wasn't malice. It was misdirected protection. Wiest's words resonated. You cannot heal what you do not allow yourself to feel. Mira closed the book and whispered, I'm not broken. I'm protecting myself from pain I haven't acknowledged. 3. Cracking the code. The psychology behind the pattern. In her search for healing, Mira began therapy and started noticing the patterns in her behavior. Whenever she got close to achieving something, she would create unnecessary conflict, delay important tasks, downplay her progress, doubt her ability to follow through. Her therapist explained that the subconscious mind craves familiarity, even if that familiarity is painful, like rejection, abandonment, or failure. It's still safe because it's known. To change, Mira had to teach her brain that success, happiness, and love were also safe. You have to grieve the version of yourself that stayed small so that you could begin building the version that soars. That line from the book hit Mira hard. She cried that night. She wasn't just healing her present, she was burying her past. 4. Excavating emotional blockages. To grow, Mira had to dig deep. She had to uncover the roots of her emotional blockages. She remembered being told as a child not to brag about her wins. She learned to stay quiet about her dreams. In relationships, she feared being too much, so she dulled her shine, watered herself down. She journaled, why am I afraid of being seen? Why do I feel guilty when I succeed? Whose love did I have to earn, and at what cost? She wasn't just unearthing wounds. She was reclaiming power. The Mountain Is You taught her that self-sabotage is often misunderstood inner wisdom. Her procrastination was anxiety. Her perfectionism was fear. Her overthinking was a desire for control. And with this awareness, healing could begin. 5. Building the foundation. Creating emotional intelligence. Mira learned that transformation required a foundation of emotional intelligence. Instead of reacting, she learned to respond. Instead of numbing, she chose to feel. Wiest described emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize your feelings, understand what they mean, respond in a healthy, aligned way. Mira practiced sitting with discomfort instead of fleeing from it. She allowed herself to cry without shame. She celebrated without guilt. She became aware of her triggers and learned to ask, what is this trying to teach me? Slowly, the woman who once ran from herself began to stand beside herself. 6. Rewriting the blueprint. New beliefs, new reality. The old Mira believed, I must earn love. If I shine too bright, people will leave. I'm not meant to succeed. She realized these beliefs weren't truths. They were stories she had internalized, and stories can be rewritten. With each day, Mira began to affirm new beliefs. I am worthy of love without performing. My light inspires others, it doesn't drive them away. Success is safe, it is my nature. Through repetition, action, and reflection, her identity shifted. Who you think you are determines what you do. Change your identity, and everything else follows. The mountain was crumbling. 7. Becoming the mountain. Self-mastery. Mira reached a turning point. She no longer feared her ambition. She embraced it. She stopped apologizing for her dreams. She began waking up early, journaling, and building her brand from scratch. Not in a manic hustle, but with calm, focused energy. She allowed herself rest. She said no without guilt. She honored her intuition. She stopped being her own obstacle and started becoming her greatest support. This was self-mastery. Wiest defines self-mastery not as control, but inner alignment. Being the kind of person who naturally does the things that lead to your highest good. 8. Handling relapses and setbacks. There were still bad days. Mira still sometimes avoided emails. She still sometimes compared herself to others. But now, instead of spiraling, she paused. She whispered to herself, this is not failure. This is feedback. Setbacks were no longer signs to stop. They were signals to adjust. She adopted rituals to reset. Walking in nature, taking breaks from social media, talking kindly to herself. Her compassion was her compass. 9. Emotional regulation as a superpower. Through the book, Mira discovered a truth. Regulated emotions lead to regulated behavior. She wasn't trying to fix herself anymore. She was learning to nurture herself. Wiest describes how strong emotional regulation helps us. Stay calm during conflict. Remain focused under stress. Make choices aligned with long-term goals. Mira practiced breathwork. She meditated. She treated emotional overwhelm like a passing cloud, not a permanent storm. Her inner world became more peaceful. Her outer world began to reflect that. 10. Designing a future that matches your growth. Mira realized something radical. The life she wanted was already within her. The only thing that had kept her from it was her own fear. She stopped waiting for permission. She created a new vision board. She started pitching her ideas. She moved into a cozy apartment and filled it with reminders of her worth. She chose relationships where she felt safe to be fully herself. She stopped seeking love from those who only loved her in fragments. She was building a life from alignment, not from desperation. 11. The mountain becomes her power. One day, Mira returned to that familiar bench, coffee in hand. She looked at the mountain and smiled. It no longer felt like a threat. It felt like home. That mountain, the symbol of all her fears, blocks, and self-doubt, had become her greatest teacher. She whispered, "Thank you for everything." The mountain didn't need to be conquered. It needed to be understood. And in doing so, she became something stronger than the summit. She became whole. Takeaways from The Mountain Is You. 1. Self-sabotage is self-protection in disguise. Understand it with compassion to transform it. 2. You are not broken, you are blocked. The work is to unblock yourself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. 3. Your subconscious controls 95% of your behavior. To change your life, you must change your beliefs. 4. Emotional intelligence is the cornerstone of success. Learn to feel, not flee. 5. Mastery is alignment, not perfection. It's about becoming the person who effortlessly embodies what you want. 6. Setbacks aren't failures. They're feedback. Use them as lessons, not verdicts. 7. Your mountain is your message. The pain you transform becomes the power you share. 8. You do not need to fight yourself to change. You need to love yourself into your evolution. Final words. Mira's journey mirrors our own. We all carry mountains inside us. Fears, insecurities, old wounds, outdated beliefs. But those mountains aren't in the way. They are the way. As Brianna Wiest says, the mountain is not something you need to climb. It's something you need to become. And once you do, nothing can stop you. Thank you for listening. You may like, share, subscribe, and comment us your thoughts. May you continue to rise above your mountains and become everything you were meant to be. Until next time, take care and keep climbing.